All right, if you just joined us, it's still Journalist Hangout. I still have GKB right here and Suko James. Now moving on straight to our third conversation. Investigations require that individuals involved make themselves available to answer questions and clarify grey areas. In this case, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has moved to ensure that the Commission has seized the passport of a former Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, as part of its probe into the $490 million Abacha loot secured through a mutual legal assistance request. The former minister was also barred from traveling outside the country for the next month, except through consent of the EFCC or a court order. Malami has, however, described the claims as false, stating that the truth will soon be unfolded. Okay, back and forth. But what role did the former Attorney General play, Abubakar Malami? What role did he play in authorizing or supervising, the overseeing the disbursement of this?
Don't forget that in the early days of the Buhari administration, because of the Buhari perception that Buhari has integrity, a lot of countries are willing to do business with us when it comes to Abacha loot. A lot of people were making offers of what they had. And it was Malami's office that was basically to process the returns of these funds. Along the line, it was alleged that some people were being paid commission on what is meant merely just to be a transaction between two governments without any middleman. Of course, he has said that it's not true. And he's a man of law, and we expect him to have his day in court. But like you said, allegations like this are not new. They are fairly common. It's only for those who took office in a democracy know that they have to answer for any gray areas that should come up. And I'm sure these two will have, the man will have his day in court. And we'll get to know what is really happening. Because it was very clear that when matters are done between governments and governments, no middlemen. So nobody to really do anything.
Okay.
Well, once you start creating layers and layers, or once you be a straightforward request, they become suspicious. Is that suspicion that Mr. Malami will now help EFCC and Nigerians to clear up in the next few weeks or next month? They must have thought it serious enough to seize his passport for him not to go out.
That I think it's a flight risk, or?
Yeah, maybe they are not sure that based on the allegation, he could not simply take a walk. If I were to be EFCC, I also ask him and some other people what happened to here in Nigeria and a lot of things that were done.
That's another kettle of that's another kettle of fish. Okay, but talk to us. But tell us about the irregularities, in the $490 million recovery.
Allegedly
now, okay? So, that triggered the EFCC investigation.
Because I was reading his response, he's saying that the first repatriated funds was from Switzerland, which is about 322 million between 2017 to 2018, was deployed, for something else, which is for conditional cash transfer, And then when those funds came in, what the EFCC tried to do was to try and duplicate that particular fund, because there was another fund that actually came back, came from Jesse, with about 321 million. And so what EFCC was trying to do was just to duplicate that process. And then trying to say that he wanted to look for another lawyer, and when he gets that lawyer will now give him kickbacks. But he said no, for something like that never happened. So it is just like the EFCC will have to prove all these things.
Yes,
because we cannot, sit here and say he actually stole this money or he did not, this did not happen. I, for one, I have my own reservation concerning Malami, even when he was
the minister,
minister then. But that doesn't mean I will sit here and say is whatever accusation against him now is guilty of them. So it's the EFCC's turn for them to prove whether actually he got those kickbacks from different lawyers or when those funds were coming, they were not actually kept somewhere and used based on the instruction of Mr. President then.
Okay.
Okay, for those monies to be used for what they were supposed to be used for. Because they even said that the monies, apart from the cash transfer, there were some funds that were also used for the Lagos Ibadan Expressway.
Okay, for infrastructure.
Project for infrastructure. So he has to prove all these things. I want to believe he has all those documents, and when Mr. President signed and said, okay, use this money, or take this one, do this, or he must have his day in court for him to prove his innocence. We cannot be here to say he is
guilty or anything.
No, but he has to prove all these things. And the EFCC, I want to believe that they have their cast iron, facts and evidence against him, so that we don't go on a media trial all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
And at the end of the day, people will start saying, okay, they've started, it's politics. Because that is what people say now. When once you see...
That's good to respond.
Yes, because then once they see a former minister who is being put on trial, or who EFCC has actually invited for questioning, the next thing people will begin to say, it is politics, because it's 2027. So the EFCC must prove everybody wrong, so that people don't begin to attribute this to politics.
Exactly.
That's why we lay emphasis on the allegedly.
Yeah. Allegedly. Now, how unusual is it for a former Attorney General of the Federation who supervised the EFCC operations during his tenure to now be invited for questioning by the same agency? How unusual is it?
It's a federal government agency. It's not a private business. It doesn't matter how long you are Attorney General. Once you're out of office, even when you are serving, if they can prove, other countries, they've done it. City ministers will be invited to verify some facts. It's not unusual. Basically, as a policeman of government, it's their job to do that. Don't forget, some of us believe that they've not even gone far enough. Because as far as I'm concerned, what we are lacking in Nigeria, that somebody told me 2 days ago, was part of our laws that are not being implemented, is what they call the unexplained wealth.
The UK.
To me, that is the fundamental element we need there. It's saving EFCC, even time and resources. Because all you have to do is prove that the resources you are deploying truly come from your legitimate earnings. And that to me is the key. So it doesn't matter whether he was a minister for 500 years. EFCC is a government institution, and they have the power under the law to invite anybody and query them accordingly. And they cannot satisfactorily tell us what they've done. They have the right to arraign them.
So what does that say about the leadership of the EFCC to come up with this?
No, the same thing with our political class. They too have been trying to cooperate. Don't forget, we had a governor that wore a T-shirt the day he stopped being the governor, that he was going to EFCC.
Okay, like EFCC here, I come.
That the day that his immunity stopped that day, but the next day he will go to EFCC to present himself. So some people might think it's a joke, but the point is that the political class must ensure that everybody can be taken, queried, and released.
I mean, the EFCC's decision to summon a former Attorney General, what does it signify about the agency's current posture under Olaolukoyede?
The chairman doesn't talk much. He's a very quiet person. So,
but action speaks louder than words.
Exactly. So for him, I think he has already seen the books, and I'm not sure he wants to embarrass Mr. Malami. But what he just wants is come and clarify these issues. We noticed that there were some discrepancy left, right, and center. So can you just come and explain yourself? And that was why they used, if you notice, I think even the media this time around, they didn't use EFCC arrest, but they said EFCC questions, questions. That is the word that they were using. And I think that is more appropriate.
But now that his passport was seized, you don't think...
Yes, now, because maybe they were not satisfied with his responses.
His responses.
So,
all right,
so that is why.
All right, gentlemen, we need to go on this quick break. And when we return, our final conversation will be here. Don't go away.